Documentary title: The Suburban Trap, America's Unraveling Dream Chapter 1. The prologue: The promise. Look closely at this image. This isn't a natural landscape. It's an engineered reality. Rows upon rows of identical, pristine white houses. A flawless grid. Manicured lawns. 2 cars in every garage. A quiet street. This is the American dream. For nearly a century, it was the promised land, the reward for hard work. It symbolized stability, safety, and prosperity. We exported this idea to the entire world as the pinnacle of civilized living. But what if I told you that the very design you are looking at right now was never meant to last? That the suburban dream we all chased was built on an unstable mathematical equation. A geometric trap that is now, in real time, beginning to collapse? We didn't just build homes. We built an unsustainable future. And today, the perfect grid is fracturing. Why are these idyllic streets becoming centers of isolation, traffic gridlock, and economic decline? How did the greatest achievement in housing turn into America's most urgent crisis? We are about to strip away the perfect paint and find out what is truly happening underneath the transformation of the American suburbs. You will never look at a cul-de-sac the same way again. Chapter 2. Introduction: The blueprint of America. Before we can understand the crisis, we have to understand the definition. What is an American suburb? It's not just not the city. It is a specific engineered concept. It is defined by single-family homes, low density, separation from commercial zones, and an absolute dependency on the automobile. It was the perfect compromise. It promised the excitement of the city, where you worked, and the peace of the country, where you slept. Pause. But how did we get here? Why does America look like a perfect grid while other parts of the world grew naturally? It started long before Levittown. Chapter 3. Origins. The commuter paradox. The Industrial Revolution changed everything. Cities became filthy, crowded, industrial nightmares. The elite and the emerging middle class wanted out. They wanted country living without giving up city money. This is the commuter paradox. Chapter 4. Post-World War II boom. The assembly line nation. World War II ended. Millions of GIs returned home, ready to start families. The baby boom began. But there was a problem. A catastrophic housing shortage. Urban centers were packed to the bursting point. The U.S. government stepped in. The GI Bill provided low-interest, zero-down payment mortgages. But this wasn't free money. The FHA and the Veterans Administration wanted to invest in new, safe equity. Safe meant single-family, detached, standardized homes. Enter William Levitt. He applied the assembly line logic of Ford Motors to home building. He didn't build a house. He built a community of 17,000 identical houses in Levittown, New York. Pause. They could finish a house every 16 minutes. We weren't connected by trains anymore. We were connected by highways. We had entered the era of car culture. Chapter 5. The Golden Age, Living the Equation. The 1950s and 60s were the golden age of suburbia. It was the materialized American dream. A generation that had survived the Depression and the war finally had security. A detached single-family home was your reward. A garage was a status symbol, housing the automobile that allowed this lifestyle to exist. Malls, standardized schools, churches, everything was designed to create a wholesome family ecosystem. It was peaceful. It was clean. Everyone knew their neighbors, but this perfection was only possible because we were ignoring the variables we didn't like. Chapter 6. Hidden problems. The unspoken boundaries. This perfect mathematical grid, it was designed to keep certain people out. The same government loans that funded the boom introduced a practice called redlining. Entire neighborhoods, usually where minorities lived, were drawn in red ink as unsafe for investment. FHA loans were implicitly and often explicitly reserved for white middle-class families. The geometric equality of the suburb became a tool of racial segregation and economic inequality. Furthermore, we entered an economic trap: urban sprawl. This low-density spread demanded miles of roads, sewer lines, and power grids. The car dependency wasn't just a choice. It was mandatory. We traded walkable communities for isolation. Pause. But this model was incredibly expensive, and we were only deferring the cost. Chapter 7. Pop Culture, the Suburban Mirage. Pop culture cemented the ideal. TV shows like Leave It to Beaver and Father Knows Best showed a cheerful, sterile suburban paradise. Malls became the town squares of the 80s. The suburbs were normalcy. But as the decades wore on, we started seeing the dark side of suburban life. Movies like The Graduate, Edward Scissorhands, and American Beauty showed the conformity, the shallow materialism, and the crushing isolation. The very safety and stability we craved was beginning to suffocate us. The mirage was starting to fade. Chapter 8. Modern changes. The fracture point. We arrive at today. Everything is shifting. The demographics are changing. Suburbs are now more diverse than ever. Millennials and Gen Z, the largest generations, are rejecting the suburban isolating model. Remote work, accelerated by the pandemic, has created a new dilemma. Do we need a traditional suburban lifestyle if we aren't commuting? Rising housing costs have made the classic single-family detached home unreachable for most young families. The equation is breaking down. People want more walkable communities. Developers are responding with mixed-use development, miniature urban cores, plopped in the middle of a sprawl. We are trying to retrofit a model that was never designed to evolve. Chapter 9. The current crisis, America's rusting foundation. This is the fracture point. The mathematical model you saw in the beginning is failing. Housing affordability is a national crisis. The low-density sprawl is a climatic nightmare, fueling heat islands and water scarcity while making walking an impossibility. Traffic congestion is a permanent feature. And then there's the human cost. Isolation, loneliness, and mental health concerns are skyrocketing in these low-density communities. We built a world where you never have to see your neighbor, and now we are surprised that we feel alone. The perfection was an illusion. The dream was a temporary mathematical anomaly, fueled by cheap gasoline and cheap land that is now gone. Chapter 10. The future. Will suburbia survive? So, will suburbs survive? The traditional model must die. It is an evolutionary dead end. Smart cities are emerging, utilizing technology to manage efficiency. Walkable communities are replacing sprawl. We are starting an era of urban redesign, retrofitting highways into parks, bulldozing dying malls to create high-density housing, and reintroducing public transit. We must change. The future of American suburbs is not more sprawl. It is dense, connected, and human-centric design. We can't just keep building rows of identical white houses on an infinite loop. We have to learn to live vertically and walk again. Chapter 11. Conclusion. After the grid, so, will suburbs survive? The traditional model must die. It is an evolutionary dead end. Smart cities are emerging, utilizing technology to manage efficiency. Walkable communities are replacing sprawl. We are starting an era of urban redesign, retrofitting highways into parks, bulldozing dying malls to create high-density housing, and reintroducing public transit. We must change. The future of American suburbs is not more sprawl. It is dense, connected, and human-centric design. We can't just keep building rows of identical white houses on an infinite loop. We have to learn to live vertically and walk where the American dream was never about the size of the lawn. It was about the strength of the community. We are finally learning that safety isn't found in isolation, but in connection. It's time to build a dream that includes everyone. It's time to create communities that prioritize the walking human over the parked car. The transformation of the American suburbs is the transformation of the American mind. The perfect equation has broken. What we build after the grid will determine our future. Thank you for watching.